individual with the state he's kept it in. He's not in any particular armor of note, but he carries his badges with some level of pride. He stands straight and he makes direct eye contact with you. His hands are folded, and he regards you with some level of dire urgency. I've been looking for you.
Yes, why?
Oh, sacred light!
He thinks for a couple seconds and then says,
I hope I've grown more able.
if I am not mistaken, were you part of a group that assailed the keep at Lakeshore? And he keeps his voice low. To give you an idea, Debo, he has a long, what appears to be musket or rifle strapped across his back. Visible that you can see is the hilt of a sword, probably short. Well, two of them. There's one above the other. One seems shorter. One seems longer. An arming sword and a short sword at his side. And he's wearing some sort of hardened or lacquered leather. Just to give you a more complete descriptor. If you want more, give me a check. But otherwise, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So when he brings that shit up, my character will stare at him for a couple minutes, or not a couple minutes, more like a minute, and then just fucking pull back in and sort of invite him in, and shut the door up after him.
Yeah, he gives you a nod, and through his peripheral, you can tell that he's keeping an eye on you, but he walks in regardless. He finds the nearest chair and he sits down, and he begins to pull a pipe out of his pack and begin casually kind of grinding up some of whatever it is he smokes.
My character closes the door and then assumes the faggoty imperial arms behind back stance and looks at him and says, yes, that was my group. Although I'm the only one that remains.
He kind of continues, and you can tell that just at a glance, he doesn't seem as though he would belong to your current opposition. But
we sus, but he wants to talk. I'm gonna let him talk.
You have my condolences for the unfortunate loss of your companion.
He nods.
With any luck, we will be able to have the body returned to you for proper burial, should you wish, but that will have to come in time.
My character thinks back to it and then mutters some if there's anything even left. Because it wasn't my boy Franco fucking...
Oh, they savaged me. They wanted to make sure I was dead, because I was just I've bits of my flesh missing, and I'm still trying to fucking swing my shield into people's faces. Yeah, no.
They didn't disintegrate you. You could be feasibly buried with effort.
All right.
The mulch pile we're gonna fucking carry in with a blanket.
He then says, those I have under me had been keeping an eye on you and your party since you had arrived in Lakeshore. We were part of the old guard, and we were looking for somebody very specific. Unfortunately, we lost them.
Who? Who were you looking for?
There was a small chance that you perhaps had known him, but it was a wizard named Eredin, and he was an elf.
Does my character know they met Eredin, or is it just some monster?
I don't know that Eredin has been named yet. Eredin has been named. The only character who hasn't has been my old character.
The only person or people that would have access to Debo's character's name would, at the time, have been anybody close to the Lord.
Wasn't sure if I found... Wait, did I find any mention of that shit? Because I have a bunch of those papers, I think.
Have you had any time? Have you had any time to go through it? Because a lot of it was coded.
Yeah, I went through a little bit of it, and like you just said,
Okay.
it was like magic bullshit.
You skimmed it, so you got essential information, but you could have missed details.
Because I don't remember when we actually met him because I wasn't there. So like,
That's fair. Go over the papers again. Maybe something comes up. He looks at you and goes, but there was one thing that caught my eye. One thing in particular. You no longer have your possessions, it seems. All of you looked quite different on entry.
yes, we what was her name? Fucking Kel. We went to seek out parley with Kel, and well, she robbed us.
Yes, I was told that her pocket of the resistance met an unfortunate end when the bell had tolled. He unslings the musket from behind his back. Devo, give me an observation check, or just get, let's see. I'm
What
just gonna.
stat is that?
I'm gonna double check just to make sure you don't pass it already. Baseline. Hold on. Because I think senses. Sorry, it was a senses check. And yeah, give me 10.
Fuck, why did I say this one? Let's use this
Yeah, all you have to do is give me a 10 total.
one. 15.
Yeah, you would recognize that musket anywhere. The scratch marks near the near the end of the barrel, the imperial insignia that's kind of washed and scrubbed out close to the butt, and more specifically the initials of ownership that were kind of haphazardly carved into the side. That's your rifle.
He looks at it and then just looks back and says, "How did you acquire this?"
He takes a couple seconds and goes, "By chance. Most of the other belongings had been taken somewhere, but amidst the bodies and blood, well, this had been forgotten. I had some of my men who were more familiar with its operation ensure that it was functional." He kind of holds it out to you.
Yep, he takes it and does the whole like cool fucking load check gun thing.
Yeah. It would take some time for you to, if you truly want to like examine it thoroughly. It's not just a checks, chamber. Okay, we're done. No, it's like sit down, give it a look, But at a glance, it seems fine. If that was your intention.
Oh yeah, he just like look it over and check to see if it's not completely fucked.
Yeah, no, it looks operational. He continues. Of course, you probably realize that I'm not giving this to you out of the goodness of my heart. I do want something in return. Make no mistake about it.
Yes, of course. What do you want?
I want some semblance of order returned to Lakeshore. And I need you to do it. You've probably noticed those strange men. The ones in white.
Yes, the cultists.
They've begun to move away from Lakeshore, and it's becoming much more of an issue. They're restructuring the guard and removing our authority and our ability to make decisions. And they're turning this section of Acretia into a theocracy. Slowly but surely.
I did attempt to silence their leader, but, well, I didn't have this at the time.
You have that now, and I can give you an opportunity should you wish to take it, and I would encourage that you do.
He nods noddingly. I will take this opportunity, but I must first consult with my traveling companions. Although, you will have to tell me what this opportunity entails. I assume it has something to do with them visiting this town.
Yes. Typically, He has a pattern that he has followed consistently since this entire ordeal began. It seems that for some reason he is either required by ritual or due to some other unknown power, he is required to travel to those areas not yet thoroughly doctrinated into the belief of his god. And typically instill an outpost or a temple there. But more importantly, what I've noticed is in those areas that he is not present, where he does not lend his voice, there are still pockets of resistance. But he is required to have had a presence there. Even in Lakeshore, in some of the darkest corners, there are still groups that fight. A failing battle, but valiant nonetheless. But here it's different. He doesn't have as strong a foothold away from Lakeshore. He doesn't have many men, and he would doubtless bring too many of his followers from within Lakeshore itself, as they are required to maintain order there. So an opportunity is being presented to you to get rid of him with a familiar weapon from a place of safety. But I would require your willingness to do so.
Nods, I am willing. But like I said, I must consult with my compatriots.
Good.
And you do know that he is a magician, right?
I've had my suspicions. I've seen the damage these types can do if left unsupervised. I learned that mistake some time ago.
That is what happened to my friend Franco. Well, he was a skilled warrior, but there wasn't nothing he could do about that. A beam of light piercing his chest almost instantly.
He kind of leans back, lights his pipe, and takes a well-earned drag from it. I've met many a great warrior. And even those that I felt I myself could not possibly hope to compare, at least in that way, were powerless against this wave that crashed against Lakeshore before you had ever stepped foot.
He nods. I've been piecing together the tale. It seems to have originated from the barn. And
he kind of narrows his vision a bit, and you can see that. Give me an empathy check, Debo.
Okay.
Some sort of. Give me a 15.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make that. Hang on. Nah, 12.
Oof.
His facial expression changes somewhat, but you're unable to really make an educated guess or pinpoint why. But there is a slight shift in how he approaches the conversation. He asks you, "Tell me about it."
Let me see if I got notes, because I swear I had fucking notes written for this.
Sure.
Because I know he did like piece together a whole bunch of shit, and I don't want to metagame.
Yeah, no, it's all good. If you need a couple seconds, just
Yeah, give me a sec to look through this shit.
as you take the time to muse over what the man is saying, you try to find any relevant information based on what you uncovered that night in the keep.
Yeah, because I know he figured it out from the... I'm trying to remember exactly what happened, because I know that I...
Yep.
Yeah, it was from what he wrote down, because I don't remember if he knew about Franco's name. He doesn't know about any of their names. He knows that he was following Gerard. So he'd start out with, well, we came here looking for a man named Gerard Delavane, and he was in company of a child.
And when you say that name, his brows perk up immediately, and he pales somewhat, as though he had seen a ghost.
He looks at him. You look like you've seen a ghost, he says.
He takes another long drag and loses his composure as he begins to cough. You could say that ghost from the past, although I had thought he had moved on.
It all seems to be connected. From my investigations, I have discerned that Gerard traveled through here, made associates with some manner of wizard and a spy master, and the Lord's son returned and seemed to we found out that he turned into a werewolf? I forget.
It specified that he had morphed into some kind of abominable beast.
Right. Okay, so yeah, he morphed into some sort of a abominable beast. And, well...
Franco also at one point mentioned werewolves.
Some manner of wolf creature, I believe Franco said. Regardless, all these things were connected, and they all came back to the barn. Which, most unsettling of all, I found drawn in a book halfway across the world.
He takes a couple seconds, and yet another drag from his pipe as you explain the situation.
Yep, my character will proceed to pull out the papers that he got from the Lord's Manor. Said, this is all I managed to recover from the Lord's Manor. Most of it is nonsense, but from what I overheard, it sounds as if this wizard is sunk his claws into the Lord after a particularly heinous bout of misfortune and taken advantage of his weakness to establish some manner of rule within Lakeshore itself.
He reaches out a hand and takes the documents.
Yeah,
You should also have the photo that I took a sketch of for you and also updated after I personally saw of Malleus Bale, who we don't know the name of.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. When I entered the castle, it was not normal. The stories are all true. There's the creature living there. He pulls out the sketch of Malleus Bale and taps it. This is what crawled through.
He gives the picture a quick scan, and he closes his eyes briefly, and he sort of kind of folds it over in half. Ugh. He kind of shudders a bit. He rolls up the documents and takes a small kind of beige cord from his pocket, and he binds them. Thank you.
Did we know that the fucking abomination in the sewers was the wizard? I feel like we did.
No, it just sounded like some guy going through some weird bipolar phase.
Right, because
he wasn't even recognizable as an elf.
Yeah, Franco's the one who got fucking leech lapped or whatever. Okay.
He tried to tell you snippets of what he saw, but you're like, you're fucking speaking crazy shit.
Yeah, you're fucking crazy, bro.
He puts the documents in a small knapsack. He keeps at his back, much smaller than the ones you guys travel with. And he you can see that he thinks about his next words very carefully, but eventually spills out. This was my fault. He confesses.
Looks at him. Your fault. How?
I know the man you speak of, named Gerard. I know of the wizard. I know of the spy master, and I know of the Lord. And I had seen it all. And in a way, it was my responsibility that things got as terrible as they had. You can see he kind of has this kind of cast down look on his face. His eyes tend to just focus solely on the ground as he zones out for a moment, and he begins rambling in a way.
Yeah, my character watches him, but wait, do we already know about the guard captain? He just went missing?
Yeah, I don't know that what there's any relevant details about De La Ponce.
Like, I just know that we heard about him going missing, and what this guy is saying, it's like,
Do you mention it?
No, he just keep it in the back of his mind and just listen.
Okay. He basically continues. I wasn't content simply leaving the Lord's service in good conscience, but yet I had made the mistake of trusting the Lord's judgment when he was at his most vulnerable. As a servant, I failed him, and more importantly, as a commander of his armed forces, I failed him. But I will not fail him a second time. He reaches a hand out to you.
Yep.
My name is Florence. Belaponce, former commander of Lakeshore. And he reaches his hand out to you.
Trying to remember what my rank was, Lamau. Maybe I got it in another doc somewhere. I think there's an old character sheet and that has all my written shit on it.
You might have to dig that one up. But I'll assume you introduce yourself by your proper rank.
I found it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he'd grasp his fucking forearm and shake it. Say, I'm Atticus Caecilius, Munis in the Imperial Army.
He nods. I know. I've fought your people before. I recognized you by the badges you had come into our city with. At least before you lost them.
Nods.
The only reason I am here speaking to you when I have many men at my service, many of whom are quite skilled at getting in places that they shouldn't, is because you had one in particular that for this situation may put your skills above those that I can readily receive in time. He describes the medal that distinguishes you for sublime marksmanship, specifically.
Yep.
During your military days, you were instrumental in dismantling a key regiment of cavalry. You shot their commander in the chest and essentially felled them, and this was during an accretion conflict. It ended up leading to that particular portion of the cavalry regiment scattering once they had engaged once they were engaged by spearmen, and essentially shot down by the mercenaries employed at the time. You were awarded that essentially for turning the tide of a battle that otherwise could have gone quite poorly, because this was a particularly notable and prestigious regiment. As a result, you were given an award for sublime marksmanship in battle. He continues. With your assistance, this may be our opportunity to free Lakeshore from this man's tyranny. But I cannot do it myself. Neither can my men. It is exceedingly difficult to get close to this particular man without falling victim to whatever sorcery he employs. I'm sure you've noticed he has a particular way with words that is highly dangerous.
Yes, he... wait, does Atticus remember? Yeah, I think he remembers fucking Duhigg got mind controlled.
Yeah, you and Franco, anybody that was there, even if they did not succumb to it, felt that they had to exert abnormal effort to remain in their own senses.
Nodded. I went to one of his speeches. It was heresy.
What I am requesting of you is simple. I need you to find a spot from which to conceal yourself, and when the moment is right, dispose of the man in white in one shot, because you will only get one. I understand that those Imperial weapons are notoriously inaccurate over a long distance. However, the destructive power that they possess may be the only thing capable of ending this with the least amount of bloodshed. So I'm asking you for your assistance, and in return, once the dust has settled, if we are successful, and if this doesn't spiral out of control, if you would return, perhaps years down the line, and receive the reward for your service. I know you are an Imperial. That's very obvious. If your medals and your adornments earlier weren't enough to tell, but I respect good service when it is offered in faith, and more importantly, you may be instrumental in liberating us from this man. Understand that I am desperate, but not so much that I would not attempt an alternative route if I found one.
Yep, my character considers it, and finally he just goes, like I said, I must consult with my companions, but
Good.
my chances of doing this are high. I just need to make a contingency in case I fail, because we are carrying a book with something in it that should not fall into this creature's hands under any circumstances. Will make this problem even worse.
Takes another drag from his pipe, and without asking any further questions goes, I trust it's not an issue if I stay here for the next day or so. That's when the men in white will be arriving, and I'll need your decision within that time.
He shakes his head. It won't be an issue. I
will-
just need to give this to my companion and make sure he understands.
Very well. I would also recommend that perhaps you busy one of your more noble companions before the day.
Nods. I will send him ahead on the path to scout.
Bear in mind that while you may not receive an immediate reward should you succeed, that you have my word that I will repay you should you ever return to Acretia once you've completed this deed, but it will take time.
My character nods in understanding. I understand.
Good.
The only thing that my concern is finding Gerard ultimately, because without that I cannot return home. But I will help you because it is the right thing to do.
Very well. As for Gerard, I knew him somewhat. He was surprisingly knowledgeable, quite skilled, but short-sighted, impulsive, and arrogant, perhaps. However, the Lord, for the short amount of time he had been here, for some reason grew quite fond of him. However, once that interest had subsided, he found counsel with more sinister men. And so here we are.
And
I
here we are.
should have known that perhaps there was more to that priest than it had seemed at the time, but with the situation revolving around the Lord's son and subsequent imprisonment, and, well, who knows what happened. He was a blessing and a curse. He kept the Lord in good spirits in a time where chaos reigned over Lakeshore more than it had ever had. The elf had vanished, so he is beyond justice, beyond vengeance. I've many regrets, and I've lost a lot of good men. Not all of them I enjoyed the company of, but whose value has become much more apparent. Every night I am haunted by this. I go back and I think. And the more I do so, I realize that it was my inaction and my distraction that led to this happen. So in a way, through you, I redeem myself. But that is contingent upon your success. Should you refuse, well, I will find a different way to accomplish this goal, or perish trying. But your only distinguishing trait is that medal, and I can only hope that those who had given it to you truly knew your value, Imperial, because it will be tested. In any case, I need a moment to think. So whatever plans you need to set in motion, I'd encourage you do so fast.
Yep.
He gives you a nod and begins to repack his pipe. Any questions?
Character shakes his head. None for now. I will return shortly.
Good. Good luck.
Yep.
I'm gonna go piss real quick. Holy shit.
Yeah, you little bitch. Now you getting a spoon chance. Fuck you.
Okay, Debo. Given everything you've heard, what would you like to do before I move on to Spoon here?
At the moment, my character is going to go find Spoon, talk to him.
Sure. Okay. Well, he's next door to you, and well, it should be easy enough. Cool. All right, Spoon.
Mm-hmm.
After a reasonable night's sleep, without any alarming visions or bizarre occurrences as a result of who and what you are, you receive a jolt of reality in your slumber. A knock at the door with some urgency manages to stir you from sleep.
There, that's my knock.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What
All
is it?
I require to speak with you.
Of course you do. Just a moment.
Yeah,
My
my
character
character
will,
assumes the faggoty officer stands outside the door with his fucking hands behind his back.
My character will open the door, peek at him. Oh, with such a fine sense, you look like you're here to arrest me. What is up, Atticus?
I had a visitor. May I come in?
I don't need to hear about your nightly trysts, but sure, fine. Come in.
Not that type of visitor. He explained himself as the old captain, from what I understand.
Captain De La Ponce.
Captain De La Ponce, yes. He brought me this. He holds up the fucking musket.
Incidentally, Brian, would my character even know De La Ponce?
How much time did you spend in Acretia?
A fairly decent amount of time.
Hey, pre or post Lakeshore?
Both.
Hey, city or rural area?
He probably spent maybe 2 or 3 weeks in the city before he moved to the rural area.
Hey, you have heard of him, but you do not know him.
Okay.
At one point, he was a commander of the city's armed forces, or
Okay.
of their guard, essentially, and potentially military as well.
I would assume that by the time that I left, that's what my character would have still assumed, assuming he even paid attention. Okay.
Yep, you basically, your history is in the realm of before the fall, but not after. Essentially before Eridan and fucking Gottfried's amazing adventure of sparkles and rainbows.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was his question?
There wasn't much question. He's just kind of explaining what the fuck happened, what he was told. He said he gave me this, holds up the musket, and basically TLDR, he wants me to kill that fucking faggoty white man.
Okay.
Well.
Go ahead, Sven.
Well, he certainly seemed to give you the tool. How much ammunition did he manage to procure?
Brian?
You have enough for one shot.
He said, opens the fucking chamber, looks in. 1.
Well, it would be empty. He'd give you the necessary components to set up your shot, but he wouldn't have it preloaded.
Well, okay, so he just assumed that there'd be a fucking bullet, but yeah, he'd just be like, 1 shot is what he said. So 1 shot is what I assume. Which leads me why I wish to talk to you.
Debo, just real quick, sorry for interrupting you. You guys can go on in a sec. I would highly recommend reading your class.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay, go ahead, Debo. Yep, go ahead, Debo.
He'd reach behind him and pull the book out and hand it over. I need you to guard this.
You'll understand if I don't want to be anywhere near this thing after the last time, but might I ask what for?
In case I fail. Not right now, of course, but beforehand. I intend to have it passed off to you while we send Gerard ahead to scout. He makes a little bit of a face at that, like, haha, Lamauer taking advantage of a dumbass, but scout ahead on the path so that he is not witness to the heinous acts.
If you'll forgive my intentions towards our erstwhile companion, I don't believe getting Gerald to do much of anything would be particularly hard as long as we paint it in a colorful manner. That said,
He shakes
I
his
certainly
head.
would hope you're not predicating this apparent assassination with the pretense of failure.
No, of course not, but, well, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Well, I suppose my follow-up question to that would be, would you not simply intend to take the horse with you?
Shakes his head. I will be posted up top someplace. On a building or perhaps a tree. Somewhere up high where I can get a vantage shot.
And
I will be stationary and, well, I assume he has some men capable of closing in once it is done, but the important thing is that the man in white is brought down.
Forgive me, do you intend to die doing this?
Shakes his head. No, I do not intend to die.
Well, that is good, especially considering the circumstances of pissing this thing off, which has garnered us its attentions. That said, do you believe this man to be killable in a single shot?
Nods. I came close with the crossbow, but it didn't do enough damage.
That is actually fairly impressive, if I'm being completely honest.
You Consuela, not enough damage.
What else is he gonna say? Literally didn't.
Scumbag!
Bro.
Ah, no, I got you.
Like, it came close, but it didn't fucking blow a hole in his chest.
Right. That is actually fairly impressive, if I'm honest. That thing looks like it couldn't take down a jackrabbit.
Yes, well, I had to get extremely close, and he was distracted, and, well, I had to try and make some use of my companion's sacrifice.
Well, as it so happens, I may be actually in, funnily enough, a position to offer some potential assurances that the first volley wouldn't be appropriate. Blow? Strike? I'm not sure of the military terms for combined arms attacks. You understand. Ambush?
Yes, an ambush.
Right. Well, I may be able to actually, funnily enough, guarantee that he may go down in the first blow of an ambush, but, well, if I am here guarding the book, that is clearly outside of the realm of reality. But if you wish me to look after this thing, he somewhat scowls at the book, then I could very well sit at a spot of, well, perhaps I could be somewhere with a horse or something to pick you up.
Yes, that would be very valuable.
All right. Well, in the event everything goes completely and absolutely abhorrently awful, where would we meet up?
Thinks about it. What's the map looking like, Brian? 'Cause I remember we
Sure.
knew a little bit of shit.
I will draw you a rough approximation of the zone you are currently in. Give you a good kind of top down. Let's see. So, what I'm going to do here is draw kind of the green outline. It represents like a rough approximation of the size of where you're at. Okay. So, I'm going to do this very quickly here.
Considers what Spoon's character said, and then he goes, "When you say that you can assist Randall, what would that assistance entail specifically?"
Wounding him at a distance after some small amount of time.
Very well. Well, we will need all the assistance I can get, and like you say, I am not planning for failure, so I will take the book with me.
Could we not simply give it to Gerald?
He just like rubs his temple at that and goes, "I, as much as I would like to trust the lad with it, it is far too much for him to handle."
I will coincide with that. Well, in that case, have you made it clear to this God Captain DuPont? Surely an upstanding figure. Could you not simply give the book to him? Not to keep, but to hold? As a show of good faith?
It is possible, yes. I will consider it and discuss it on my return to the room. I was thinking that I would take a walk around the village and survey perhaps possible vantage points or, you know. The captain says that the man in white is scheduled to come tomorrow, right, Brian? Tomorrow or the next day?
Yep, tomorrow. Within the
tomorrow.
next day or two, and he said probably earlier than he expected.
Within the morrow, he said. So I would like to get some familiarity with these surroundings while I have the chance. And yeah, that's all you'd say.
Well, that does actually somewhat complicate matters. If I'm going to be going with you, I certainly wouldn't want to take the horse. If only because, well, so far as I'm aware, the Gonds tend to spook horses, and I am far from an equestrian.
Are there windows in this room, Brian?
Shutters.
Yeah, he'd look over at the shutter and like try and peek through it to see what he could see of the surveying landscape.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm gonna highlight where you guys are in blue. All right. So
Yeah.
So the place you are currently in. This is where you guys are, right here. So you're kind of at the center point. The gallows or the execution spot where they take criminals in this particular village is literally right across from you. However, it has been cleared out recently. So there's no noose. The blood has been scrubbed from the platform.
Oh,
And-
like where am I looking out from the window? Like this way or this
yep.
way?
Give you something a bit more detailed here. Scale it down. So your line of sight, let's treat your room specifically as being this little box, right?
Yeah.
So your line of sight is pretty much from this shutter out here It's a cone that's probably about like that, give or take, in that direction. The platform that I was talking about, that is conspicuously cleared out, is right here.
So that's the big chance of where he's gonna be, right? Like,
Well, before, once you had gotten here, you guys both remember that there was still the remnants of a previous execution here, and, well, they were ready for more. However,
can I roll tactics?
I
I
mean,
just want to like determine. I want to determine if it would be like tactically sound, I guess, for fucking Spoon's character to just chill in the room and look outside at the fucking platform. Like if you'd be able to escape and where you could go and all that, I guess.
you could, yeah, you can roll your tactics to make a plan.
Yeah, that's essentially what I want to do.
Okay, give me a tactics check, and with a yeah, just make a. Let's see. Hold on, I'm thinking.
Oh, that's a shitty check.
I was gonna say give me a 10.
Oh yeah, I still pass it.
Okay. This building is pretty straightforward. It has two entrances. One in the back that leads through into the larder and into the kitchen, and the other that is basically the entrance. That you know of. There's 2 floors. The bottom that's obviously focused more on serving the patrons, and then as you and then the other half section where you're currently staying is rooms. The upper floor, again, more rooms and bathing area. There isn't much to this place. It's essentially any actions you take, you would either have to use one of the doors or find a different angle to climb out from. There are no balconies in this place, so you would have to have some level of competence just climbing.
Actually, I do.
Okay, yeah, you'd have to be able to improvise because this isn't made for climbing.
Yeah, I go like parkour and fucking crazy climb skills, man.
Okay,
That's probably my highest skill, I think. So like, but that's not like, yeah, he's thinking about Randall more right now.
Yep.
So yeah, he'd suggested at the very least and say, well, I can see the platform from here and they're clearing it out, so he must be coming to give us some sort of speech that will sway the populace like he did in Lakeshore. But can you perhaps assist from this window? How much distance do you require?
My character gives it a thought. Yeah, the windows present no obstacle for me, but if he moves off the platform, I won't have a direct line of sight. I highly doubt that anyone is going to come asking for me, especially if I tell the innkeeper that I do not wish to be disturbed, even if I'm making odd noises at any given part of the day. The biggest problem I see with this plan is that, well, I certainly would require quite a bit of forewarning before you would make your shot, otherwise I'd imagine he'd rather expediently be trying to get off the platform, assuming he was still alive.
He'd nod. About how much forewarning would you require? I am capable of holding my shot and determining when to shoot based upon a signal of some sort, although we couldn't do anything overly obvious because, well, he would notice it and get frightened. Perhaps
I would reckon it about 10 to 12 ticks. Basically, seconds.
Yep, he'd nod.
Do you have any way to signal me a piece of destroyed glass?
Thinks about it. Well, if
Perhaps
it is
you
much
can flash something on your person at me, one of your medals, the poster.
How big is the building behind him, Brian? This building.
Let's have a look here. Which building, Debo? Give it a point. That one. It's about 18, 20 feet across.
Is it high enough up to like hide on?
No, it's single floor. You could get on top of it, but it doesn't have much that could kind of obscure you. its height isn't great enough, and it wouldn't take much for people to get into a position where they could engage you at range if that was a possibility. It also doesn't offer much in the way of concealment outside of the roof, which you can kind of climb around and shimmy around and try to like reposition yourself so that the angle obstructs people. But like eventually, if you're surrounded, you don't really have anywhere to go from there, unless you would leap onto the building next to it. And again, you're in a similar position because the jump from there to the next set of hovels, it's too risky. But you could theoretically. The best building right now is the one you're currently in because it's the only one here that has 2 floors. Since it's the center point for not only viewing executions, but literally where people come and unwind after work in the fields or on the forge.
Okay, so a character can go up on the roof. He'd say, I can go up on the roof, or I could stay here alongside you, but it would give away your position, which is what I would not like to do.
If I was perfectly frank, firing outside of the building or inside of the building would most definitely give you away, and I can certainly tell you that what few quote-unquote guards would remain are likely going to be incredulously cross with you when they hear a loud, suspicious noise coming out of the tavern.
Yeah, true. What about this building? What is this shit?
That is not really a building. None of those long stretches are really buildings singularly. They're kind of loose constructions of like hovels and homes that peasantry live in.
And the surrounding area is just trees and shit.
Yeah, the trees, wilderness, hills, hilly terrain. Acretia is a very kind of dry terrain. It's very barren, rocky, with the exception of some small patches of land. Do you want me to pull up the map so you can get a better idea?
Yeah.
Okay, Spoon, there was a way to like put the map as the background for this. How do I do that again?
The map as the background?
Yeah, the map that I have for the world as the background for Tabletop Simulator, because you showed me how to do that once.
I believe that's a different table.
It's just a different table, so it's a custom table, I guess, right?
I assume.
Let's see if I can do that again here. That would be under objects, right? Yeah, tables, custom square. All right, and I'll see if I can desktop map. What kind of a file is this? Fuck, there was a way I had done this before. Well, not super important. I can just share my screen.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that?
Thank you, Alex Jones. Literally the fucking hero we need.
So just asking because I don't think there's any
The else doesn't matter.
Hold on here. Then we will open up OneDrive. Just to give you an idea of kind of what Lakeshore looks like. Or sorry, what Cretia looks like and sort of the land that you're dealing with.
This is where I'd put a trophy. If I had one!
Fucking Jewelberg. Yep, there we go. Okay.
Jesus Christ, boys! Get up with the fucking erection!
The real fucking omnipotent being of this setting. Alright. So, this is the kind of landscape you're dealing with. Hills, some light forests, relatively arid, kind of barren, but sort of what you're dealing with. Lakeshore's on the coast. It has land that's good enough to farm on, but it's not exceptional. This area here is particularly barren. It's
Brian?
only as you get... Yeah, what's up?
You're capturing tabletop sim.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so the area you're in right now, if you can see it, there isn't really much in the way of forest here. A lot of this is plains. It's only as you get further out toward the hills and some of the mountains that you're starting to get more forest. So any kind of travel from here would basically be, for lack of a better way of putting it, kind of in the open. This is where a lot of their farming takes place. And while their land isn't particularly great, it's not terrible. It can sustain, basic agriculture. And you're pretty much just booking it across fields and, hoping to get to the hills. Literally run for the hills. Where you go from here depends on what happens, but you have options. Only as you get further east do things tend to change. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to give you a good kind of look at Lakeshore. I'm going to get some coffee. And when I get back, just let me know kind of what you want to do, all right? So, I'll be right back.
Something tells me this doesn't answer your question, Debo.
It just tells me that if we fail, we're fucked. But, I think I'm just gonna go up on the roof and fucking shoot him. I'll probably... the only signal thing is just timing. Because the only other thing I
trying to
can suggest
signal
is,
my
like,
character to do anything, I'll probably ask Brian at some point alright, so how long can I hold one of these fucking spells anyway? And if it's like, well, it has to be done in like 1 or 2 rounds, well then I'm just gonna patch. I was like, well, is there someone we can like buy a whistle from?
What does your spell actually do? Like, what are you trying to? Is it like an attack spell or?
My spell's name that I am planning to cast is called Dash Hopes. The caster forces the target to view one of many potential bad ends they could face in their near future, throwing their vision temporarily upon the strands of fate that foresee their death. If the target fails their will save, they are stunned for 1 round and gain 1d10 insanity. It takes 2 actions and deals 1+1 per every magical attribute and damage.
Some bullshit. What the fuck?
Yeah, it takes 2 rounds, and I essentially do 5 magic damage and potentially stun a dude if they fail their will save. But he's magically enchanted by a fucking demon, so who knows at this rate.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm worried about too. Like, fucking pulls out a magic shield and goes, "Surprise, motherfucker! I was prepared." And that's
Let's
when I
see.
shit and fucking scamper.
The minimum base DC to resist this spell is equal to 8 plus the magic attribute of the caster. That would be like 12.
I mean, it's worth
I
trying.
can also give it
think.
an area of effect for 10 additional mana.
I think it's worth trying at the very least. But
Also resisting the spell also resists the damage.
Damn.
So this is really risky of me to do.
I mean, like, I know I can fucking hit him if he's that close. Because I did it already.
If we had, like, you with more ammunition, I could fate seal his dumb ass.
Yeah, but it's cooler that I don't have any ammunition.
Actually, now that I think about it, you still have the crossbow, right?
Yeah, technically.
If I hit it with Fate Seal, let's see, the caster locks a single target in a space that is deeply entwined with their destiny. Whether or not its significance is apparent to the character is irrelevant. If the target fails a will save, they must remain within that space for an entire day and incapable of leaving it. 15 actions.
Oh my god.
Duration 1 day. I don't even think it actually has a will save. It just says that in the description. No way, it's save will plus resolve plus talents. Wait,
Oh, no,
it doesn't list DC.
With this talent, I get an automatic hit.
Right, but basically at this rate, we're just going like, all right, so if he lives somehow, some way, maybe you can just pull out the crossbow and finish his dumbass.
Yeah.
Or I can try, like, risking fucking, essentially trying to throw the magic equivalent of fucking glitter dust in his eyes, because I know he'll probably resist it.
Yeah, oh no, my character will probably go talk to fucking De La Ponce a bit more and be like, yo, so like, signal though?
I mean, you could probably go to a craftsman and is like, hey, do you got a whistle? I was planning on going to hunt later. Something like that. There are ways we can signal each other, but whether or not I can, like, hold my action, not that I really expect my action to do much, considering that if he resists my fucking spell's stun DC, then it just resists all of the damage, so it's just like, well, I just wasted. How much mana does this cost? 5 mana?
God, I wish you had fucking telepathy, man. Telepathy is like medieval phone. Medieval
yes.
Bluetooth.
The Amnesia, the Dark Project, fucking, the Amnesia, fucking Dark Descent, fucking... Alright, how do we solve this problem? Just throw a rock at it, idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, literally that, yeah. How do you kill this wizard? Well, you throw a rock at him. It's like
How do I get out of this fucking room? Oh, just throw a fucking helmet at it, fucking retard.
That was my favorite part from SWTOR, was picking the Jedi Knight, and the Emperor's like, you won't kill me, you're a Jedi, and you go, yeah, but rocks, and then you just pull the roof and crush him. And like that's the end of the cutscene, just kill him with rocks. And he's like, oh no, you wouldn't dare. And you're like, yeah, but I'm not playing Jedi. Look at my alignment, bro. I blew up the gay planet, man.
So basically the options we have here is that I can, like, lock him in place, but that presents its own, like, can of worms. Is like, if people realize that the fucker can't move, then eventually someone's gonna get up on the platform and is like, get behind me! There's some fucking rapscallion doing gay shit! And, like, body block you.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I gotta get the shot off first, and then whatever the fuck, if he survives.
Like,
Then
the
you
current
do magic
plan
things.
is just booty blast him with the spell and the gunshot simultaneously, but the problem I'm seeing is that if my spell fizzles out, it's basically, well, help the gun kills him.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm banking on, though, because gun's OP, dude.
All right, ripped ass
Brian.
like a 7. Do you guys need more time, or are you guys done?
I'm basically just lamenting about how neither of my spells are particularly, not feasible, but reliable in this scenario.
I mean, without any kind of knowledge, character knowledge, it's not stupid to assume that battling somebody on the grounds of willpower, who likely has a lot of it based on what kind of character they seem to be, is probably stupid. Like, you don't even need to consider that metagaming. That at this point, this would just be common sense. But that doesn't mean don't do it. It just means, are you willing to take the risk? Because make no mistake, that's what it is. If you were a pyromancer, that would probably be a better type of caster to be in if you're not really worried about being subtle, because...
Yeah, it's like, what are you going to do? Willpower your way out of not being on fire?
Funnily enough,
Wow.
subtlety isn't the thing that we're worried about here. The thing we're worried about is that it's like, alright, I spent 2 action casting the spell. He passes the DC. I do nothing.
Correct.
Yeah,
Most
might be just better off not wasting the mana. Save it.
most people can't really resist that spell.
But this guy ain't most people.
I'm gonna double check if it's. Are you trying to use Dash Hopes?
The DC is terrible. It's like 8 plus magic attribute, which is like 12 total.
Yes. So if you had higher magic attribute, save of 18, short of an explosive, most people and specific talents, most people will not make that.
I mean, if
I
I was
can
a
make that.
godly powerful caster.
What's that?
I mean, if I was an ungodly powerful caster, yeah.
Yep. But your character, as a result of how you decided they would have turned out, is not one. So that makes sense that your spell is likely more resistible because you're not a god tier caster. And that doesn't mean that it's useless. It's just against the kind of character you're trying to use it against. It's safe to assume that he might be strong in this area. What I can tell you is you can still try. You could try other spells, but again, you're doing the thing. The Sword Master, cool, I'll fight him in melee combat. Why are you fighting him on his terms? You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably just save the mana, dude. It's too risky.
I know.
That's
I also have the other spell, but I'm not sure what the DC is.
You could probably save it for some mooks, actually. Like, if he's got mooks with them, just fucking cast it on them instead.
Like, if I just, like, Oonga Boonga for 2 minutes and cast fucking, like, Fate Seal, I could probably just, like, lock him down. That was another, like, part of the thing, but I'm not sure what the DC is, because it's not
Well, my
listed.
plan at the moment is really straightforward, dude. It's climb up on that roof, fucking crouch down, you pick him off, and just fucking line it up while I assume he does whatever mind control bullshit speech he's doing until I have my maximum charge. And then I'm just going to shoot him. And that's my plan. Like, if it doesn't work, then I'm fucked. But, you know, it's what it is. My character's just, if I get caught, though, Randall, like, what are you going to do, homie? You got, like, a walking stick. You got to hide in here, bro.
Yeah, you're right, Spoon. I forgot to write down the DC of this one. My bad. So there you go. Yeah, 10 plus whatever your magic attribute is.
We could have...
Actually, no. I'm changing that. That's going to be 15 because it takes a really long time to cast. So 15 plus whatever your magic attribute is. Plus, yeah. So that should cover
that would be a DC of 19.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So this spell covers a maximum area of 10 by 10. Can I just, like, be a complete dick and make it 1 by 1?
You could, sure.
Maybe I'll go with that then.
Yeah, like
Maybe, okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I get Randall to babysit Geralt and take him not here. And then, because that way he's on the horse, that way he's with fucking Unga Man, the Unga Man, and like, yeah, I think that's better. And then they can go ahead to go.
You just want to lone wolf it?
Kind of, because like I could stealth away. I'm pretty sure if I had the chance.
Like, if this is something your character feels is like viable, because you could just be looking at me as like, he's making this fucking shit up. He doesn't do shit. Fucking, like, what is he gonna do? He's a stick figure. Fuck him. Get out of here.
My character's more like, bro, you were helpful finding shit, so like, I don't want you to get fucking killed before we find the asshole. Go with Muscle McMuscle and go ahead and start investigating. I think that's what he'll do. He'll send them out on ahead to like continue the fucking grand quest of questiness.
Alright, but that leads me back to my character's previous statement. It was like, where are we going to meet up, assuming you live?
The next town over.
Okay, how long should we wait for you?
which one, Devo? Dream or Covenal?
The one that Gerard passed through. I think it was Drime.
Drime? Alright.
Yeah. Like, could I do
are
an
we not
check
in Drime?
All this? I thought we were in Drime. Yeah, I thought it was the next one over.
Sorry, you're in Drime, so that would be either Kovenal to the south or Ushtin to the east.
Where is Uldrick?
Uldrick
is
is
on
a
the
good
complete
distance.
right of his screen share. It's like just old on his screen on the on far right side.
It's completely east. It's far east of where you're from. That would be a decent travel. You'd be passing along the trade bridge or the toll bridge that leads to Ushtin and Willenheim all the way through, and then to Uldrick. Yeah.
Give me a second. I'll be back.
Yeah. And that's if you choose to stay within Akrisha's holdings. To the north, you have Clanhold Dumren, which is Dwarven territory, and then further east, you have Clanhold Dramek. So, yeah. Fucking hell, the Imperium's huge. It's not even done yet. Oh yeah, look at the other part of the map, Spoon. I don't know if you saw this design, but this is where this is going to be the northeastern part of the map. Up here is where you're starting to get like
All right, yeah, it'd be Kovenal probably.
Kovenal.
Like,
All right.
have we heard anything about that place?
It's a trading port. Yeah, it's a trading port, fairly humble. It's close to one of the lucrative mines. One of the many lucrative accretion mines, silver specifically, and yeah, it plays a large part in transfer of wealth to
Can I roll a recall check just to check which path Gerard took first? Is that okay? Like what the bartender told me?
The bartender, I mean, I'm pretty sure he told both of you, but because Spoon happened to be there when you asked, he told you that it was likely that after he went through Drime, he likely stopped either at Ushtin or Kovenal, depending on whether or not he went south or east. He would have passed through Willenheim, unless he decided to skip it and continue through to Uldrick, assuming he had the supplies. So what
All
he
right,
said
yeah,
is,
we'll go Kovenal and then to Ushtin and then to Willenheim, just fucking all in a row, just to
I
check.
circled where Uldrick is for you there.
most people
Oh yeah, thanks.
Most people tend to take safer paths. The toll bridge to through to Willenheim is safe once you get to the bridge. It's the journey to the bridge that can be an issue. So most people tend to go south and take the long way around through Kovenal to Ushtin and then up to Willenheim. Only trade caravans with escort typically go over the toll bridge and just straight through Dryman Lakeshore, which tends to be the shorter route, and then north to the Dwarfhold or south to Cronenberg.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, they can go Kovenal. Like, it's not so much safety I'm worried about because of like Gerard Lamau or Geralt, but like, yeah, Kovenal and then Ushtin just to make sure, like, so we can explore, check out.
Okay, so you want to go south to Kovenal once whatever your guys' plan is goes off.
Well, I'm sending them ahead to Kovenal.
Okay, when you say them, who are you sending?
Your boy and Geralt.
Okay, would you like to roleplay that out with Gerald, or just roll a persuade check?
I can just roll a persuade check.
Okay. Sure. Give me a persuade check. And let me know the line of reasoning you're using. Because he has made it clear that he's attempting to help as many people as he can within the area before he eventually moves on.
Yep. He'll say something like Randall has something he needs to do in Copenhagen, and he requires your horse and your escort to take him there, essentially.
Okay. So we need your horse to accomplish something.
Well, no, he'd also include be like, yeah, Randall's a bit of a scrawny guy. He needs your help and protection to watch over him on his journey.
Okay. Do you say anything else?
And that I would meet up with you guys back over at Copenhagen because I'm waiting for the blacksmith to finish crafting my equipment.
Okay. I don't really view this.
This is all none of it is a lie. Like,
I don't really view this as contested on his part because you're not really attempting to persuade him of anything. You're just kind of requesting that he help you. So, okay.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
And just trying to get him out of the way for the day so that I can do the thing and then try and meet up with them after if I don't die.
He'll agree to help escort Randall to Covenal, and he will meet you there.
Yep, and my character will give Randall the book so that they're taking it with them.
Okay, you're transferring over the book to Randall then?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever you have written down, please show Spoon so he can write down exactly what you have, and the book is...
I don't know where any of this shit is, dude. I just remember there was the fucking picture of the barn and weird spooky prophecies. I deadass don't know where the fuck my notes went, and I'm kind of mad.
All right,
All
fair
I
enough.
remember about the book is that it's largely about either enchanting or disenchanting an item, and has a couple extra little tidbits in the back about a fairly well done sketch of Lakeshore, and then of the barn with a weird black spot on it.
Okay.
Yeah, generally. My character didn't really understand any of the magic shit. He just knows it has a picture of the barn and it has the shard in it.
Okay. Write down... Spoon, write down on your character sheet, unknown flesh Lieber. Yeah. Write that down, and then in brackets, just the book, so you know what that is. The shard is supposedly re-embedded in it, so I would also make a note, Spoon, that the shard is in the book so far as you're aware. Well, not you as in your character, but you know what I mean, right? You know that the shard is in the book, but your character might not know. Unless Debo explained that part.
Yeah, my character explained it to him, I think, didn't he?
Did he? Because I can't remember.
I don't know that he did.
You were fairly secretive about a lot of it.
I think he told... he just mentioned that the book was important and it had to be protected and shit.
Yep, so you didn't really give details. Okay. When are you sending him off? Immediately?
Yeah, preferably they can leave comfortably before the man in white arrives, essentially. So, either in the night or in the morning. Early in the morning.
Night or early morning. Okay. Spoon, I will leave it up to your character's discretion. Either early in the morning or in the night, you can begin your journey with Gerald.
And my character would explain what his plan is to fucking De La Ponce, I guess.
Okay.
I climb up on the roof. You try and find a way to climb up there, I guess, in the interim, in the span of time after all this shit is settled. You try and plot out a course onto the roof, off the roof, and his escape route after.
Yep. Honestly, after making the shot, without knowing how many obstacles you'll face in the form of guardsmen or otherwise, honestly, your only escape route seems to be climbing down or going back into the building and through the doors. And then, question mark, do you have a horse or anything?
Nope, Geralt has the only horse, but I just have sick climbing skills, hide skills. Yeah, I'll have to improvise it, man. I'll
Okay.
straight up have to improvise that shit because I don't know what I'm gonna do after.
Hey, De La Ponce looks at you and goes, "Well, it seems like you've thought everything through. How are you getting out alive? It would be
Mike.
easy to just let you take your shot and then, well, throw you to the gods, as it were, but it would be difficult to repay the debt if you are dead. So, I will have my own personal agents intervene on your behalf once you take your shot, for better or worse."
Nods.
However, I will implore you to rush whatever escape you can think of, because I will not leave my people embedded on a suicide mission.
My character considers it. I would not have you sacrifice your men for no reason. When you could sacrifice an animal instead. You have a horse.
Currently, I do not.
That makes it difficult.
You must understand there are very few of us, and those that remain are highly skilled, but not necessarily wealthy. Not anymore.
Does Atticus just want to take like the spare horse?
Yeah, I might take the spare horse. I forgot we had a spare one. Well, I thought we only had the one.
We had two.
Yeah. Okay. So, Atticus will nod and say, "Well, I will do my very best to assure that I do not miss, and I will make my escape on a horse."
Let's hope for all our sakes that you do not miss.
Nods. And the building is 3 stories.
Two.
2 stories. So I can. What is the place where you tie up your horses? Is there one behind the building, like here-ish?
The stable is kind of built into the side, so I'll draw that for you here, just so there's no confusion. The stable section is basically built into the rest of the building about here. So the horses are kind of in this little pen, and then the building itself begins right about there. So this is like the stable section. And there's the hitching posts are out near the front, which is here, but I can't imagine you want to try and escape there, since it's literally facing like where.
Yeah, ideally he'd leave the horse here to like climb down and like just skedaddle with, or like here-ish, I guess.
Okay, so
I mean, the stables are inside, right?
no, the stables are outside. It's like it's not a conventional stable. It's built into the building itself. The building itself doesn't begin until after the fact. It's more of a secure open design stable to allow like fresh air and the horses to breathe, and it's also fairly budget. So the stable is here. Like this is basically the section. It's relatively secure. But make no mistake, it has a roof. You could climb into it, but you can't jump off of the roof into it because it does have a roof.
No, I would jump off of the roof onto that roof and then around the fucking side, I guess.
You basically have to slip underneath. You basically have to slip underneath onto your horse. It's not impossible. It just requires a bit more effort. Might take a bit longer, but it's not gonna take you all fucking day.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like the gates though. Like where are the gates? They just over here, I assume, or.
I mean, there's an individual gate per stall, right? Every horse has its own thing, unless it directly belongs to the inn. So your horse would have its own kind of pen.
And I'm getting up onto the roof from what, like window? I would have to explore a little bit more.
The roof itself has the typical triangular design. It's not meant to be climbed on, and there are no balconies on this building. You're basically free climbing this.
Yeah.
So you would have to be basically on the edge of the triangle, looking. So to clarify, you would be looking this way, right?
Yeah.
And you would be basically balancing on the edge here, looking down to take your shot.
I can take my sniper pose shit on there, right, while balancing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's basically what you're trying to do is take an aimed shot using as much time as you can on a stationary target within the effective range of your weapon. If everything goes right, I mean, you should be able to hit.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's what I'm gonna do then.
The only problem, which is obvious to anybody doing this plan, is post-shot.
Getting the fuck out. Yeah.
Yeah, is the exit strategy is what's in question. You have one, but you don't exactly know what this man's coverage is going to be while he's here. The shot's not in question; it's the escape. And you don't know how much backup you'll have from LaPonce. He just says he'll try to have, after the shot is taken, he'll have his own men spring an ambush or a trap of sorts, but you don't know how effective that's going to be. You also don't know what numbers he's bringing. It sounds
there's an exit to the south.
So this right here is your exit, is one of your exits, and the other exit would be over here. There are two entrances, front and back, to this place.
Yeah, I'd probably be going this way then.
Okay. All right. So
and then try and like circle around and go south.
All right.
After the fact, after I'm out and shit.
So south on the map is this way. So you'd basically be leaving here and then wrapping around like that.
Yeah, essentially.
All right. It's going to take you. Well, you'll figure it out as it goes. It's not going to be a clean movie escape because the place that your horse is being kept pretty much pens it in. But what you can do, which is an obvious fix, is just tie your horse up like pretty much on the edge of the building. If you're not
going to tie it up outside.
Yeah, you don't have to have it in the stable. It's just if the innkeeper or anybody else noticed that it's outside, he might untie it and basically slap it on its way because you're not paying to have it there. But that's a risk you might have to take.
Or I could pay the innkeeper to have it there.
Yeah, you could, or you could do that. Like, you have options. You're pretty much just trying to minimize everything that could go wrong that's actually within your power. What you have right now is a simple but effective plan to take a clean shot. The only thing in question is your exit strategy, which relies on nothing going on, nothing happening, nothing blocking, taking, or otherwise obscuring your access to your horse, which you can then jump on and, well, pretty much make a free escape since guard presence at the moment is incredibly light.
There's a way to climb up from back there too, isn't there?
No, the only way you got, well, yes, but it requires a bit of effort because again, this is basically a sheer surface. You could climb up onto the lower roof of the pen and then use that to get to the higher section of the building, but it's not exactly hidden. People would see you do it.
Yeah, that's my issue. I got to make sure I'm hidden at first.
Yeah, like make no mistake, you have a great place to take a shot, but look around you. A lot of that is mostly open space or with obstacles that are so low that anybody just kind of living their life walking around could see you. Especially during the day. So
Yeah, okay. So, well, that's my plan. I guess it's not the best, but it's a plan.
You're going to tie the horse up alongside the building. Are you paying the innkeeper or making a
yeah, I'll ask him to tie it up over here just for tomorrow.
He would ask you just, why don't you just use the pen?
Because Geralt might show up and he might take the horse with him. I want to have it ready for him or some shit. I don't know, man.
You could just pay him to stop asking questions.
Yeah, literally that.
Okay.
Fuck you. Here's like let me see my money.
Like, I mean.
Yeah, I'll give him 50 silver. Is that good? 50 silver?
Yeah, he his eyes sparkle, he smiles, he takes the money that he struggles to fit into his pouch, and he says, whatever you want. He ties the horse up and makes sure that nobody touches it or gets near it or does anything suspicious. He'll even stand out there ready to untie the horse the second you give him the word for whatever reason, even though he's still baffled as to why you don't just use the pen.
All right, well, I'm paying him not to ask questions, so there you go.
Yep, nope, money solved that problem. He stopped asking questions and gladly took your money.
Great. So, yeah, the horse will be out back. Fuck it. Bro, I fucking love money. Did I ever mention that?
It's nice to have.
Very nice to have. I mean, you don't have to answer his questions. Like, you didn't even have to pay him. It's just, money, shiny, and distracting. So,
Oh yeah, it's mostly for like so he doesn't tell anyone, right?
yeah, I mean, you have to imply that you want him to just like keep quiet.
Yeah, literally that.
So
This
right
is
now,
for
you're just-
keeping quiet.
Well, here's how this went. Because your character is a normal person, and you, as a functional person, would see how this interaction went. He's asking why you're not using the stables. You basically don't really give him an excuse that's believable, worth it, or sensical. So he's kind of like, what? Then you just brandish a bunch of money. And he goes, oh, okay, thanks. But there's no conditions on it. He'll stop asking questions, but, I mean, you're not swearing him to silence or making any requests. You just gave him a lot of money to distract him so he wouldn't keep questioning you. So let's think about this like normal human beings.
Oh yeah, well, hand
This
it
is a
to him
mafia
and,
movie.
here you go, bud. This is for keeping quiet too. La, 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 la.
Is that what you say?
Yeah, just keep it on the down low that I have my horse out back. Don't mention it to anybody.
He gives you a nod, still seems rather confused, at least judging by his facial expressions, but he doesn't question you.
Yep, that's all I care about.
Okay.
Now we getting into position and waiting for a fucking faggot to show up and do his gay little mind control speech.
Dude, that was literally the equivalent of Demon being, oh my god, stop it! Don't ask me to justify my actions, you fucking peasant. Like, what? You don't have to justify anything. Oh!
Speaking of justified, how much money did you give him? Did you give him like all of your money?
No, I have like all of Gerald's money still, dude.
Oh my god.
That was just like what some dude gave me for change, and I had it.
Can we talk about Geralt, the hard carry? Fuck.
I'm telling you,
I mean,
like,
we can.
He's the fucking hard carry, and if anything happens to him, I'm gonna be fucking devastated. That's why he's going with Randall. Brian. He's not gonna get killed by the cultists like me.
I've known this poor
person to treat me like a human. Single manly tear. Go, my son.
Go,
Do the right thing. It's too late for me. Literally,
I've known this poor fucking slow boy for all of 5 minutes, but anything happened to him, I'd kill everyone else and then spoon.
And just to make an example, I would fucking go out of my way to hire a mage to erase Spoon's character's soul exclusively to make a point. What? What?
Goes on a fucking like world-spanning journey just to find a mage to erase somebody's soul. Look at all these clan holds we could have visited if Axe wasn't such a faggot.
Do I look like the kind of guy who has a soul?
Yeah, I mean, I sent X a message a couple times to play, but he just never got back to me really at that time.
I just stare at these map and I'm like, clan hold. We'll never get to go inside there. Fuck you, X.
There's nothing stopping us from going there now.
You can always try.
Probably not be fucking let in.
They'll be like, oh, you're from the Imperium? You don't got anything to trade? Fuck off. That's how I picture it would go.
I mean, if you're from the Imperium, then you know that your peoples tend to trade and generally get along. You're more similar than different. Dwarves and humans are very close to one another. Even in Warhammer, dwarves and humans are closer to each other than humans and elves.
Yeah, it's because they're industrious pieces of shit.
Yeah. They've got more in common than they don't. Where they tend to differ, typically outside of physicals, is like in their beliefs. Like, that's usually where they tend to differ. Whereas elves are completely different from both of them.
If my character survives this and we end up meeting back up, I might actually go to the fucking clan hold. Just for weapons.
Nothing's even happened. Fucking Debo hitting the Kevin Samuels die alone button already. Holy shit.
Look, I'm just saying, bro.
Damn.
I'm just saying. Shit talking pops off in this game and I don't trust it.
Debo has a plan. He's gonna do good shit. Send Spoon off. Everybody's taken care of. All right. Final plan. Debo presses the button.
All right.
Debo, before you die, do you buy a dog?
No, that's why I'm doing this.
Oh,
Alright,
yeah,
I-
you
I
killed
didn't
your
mean to
dog.
mention you. I didn't mention. I
I'm
didn't mean to
gonna
mention your
etch my
dog.
dog's. I'm gonna etch my dog's name on the bullet.
That's some spite.
That's fucked up.
What is your dog's name?
Brutus. Because it's like et tu Brutus, get it? Ha, 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 ha.
It's Destiny time. All right. Do you guys wish to do anything else?
I'll pick up my order from the smith.
Yep. Spoon, just refresh my memory real quick. What was your order?
It was basically like RP shit mostly. I think I got like a whetstone and some new meat hooks because my character's a butcher.
Yep. You already paid him, so
Yep.
write down your meat hooks and your whetstone, and just make sure you have them.
Mhm.
Also, what I will say for whetstone is, like, if you take care of any of your edged weapons with it, I'll give you an extra point of damage.
I think I also got some shit from him, didn't I? I got like a sword and some bolts.
Do you have it written down? Because I actually can't remember that part.
Nope. Because he told me to fuck off and come back later.
Okay, so implying that you hadn't ordered anything yet.
No, I ordered it. He just said it'll take some time. Come back later.
Okay.
I paid that shit. That's where my That's where my silver came from because I broke my fucking gold.
That could be an issue because it does take quite a while to make a sword. Funnily enough, it actually does. It took a week back in the day.
I don't remember if I got a. I think I just bought one. Maybe that's where I got my short sword from.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
don't worry
struggling
about it.
to remember
Don't worry
anything
about
that
it.
you would have got that would have taken an excessive amount of time. Like all you did was like pawn off someone's armor.
To make a so let's see, to make a
Yeah, I remember I pawned off some shitty armor and I got it for Randall. I got Randall some good armor.
yeah, here we go. In medieval Europe, about a week to make a decent average steel longsword.
Yeah. I don't think I got that shit because I feel like we had this conversation. I was like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, you might have changed your mind. That's what I'm thinking.
I know I got Randall armor. That's what I did definitely buy.
Hey, did you write down what kind?
I think it was just padded Lamlar shit.
Padded Lamlar. Okay. Do you have it written down and equipped?
I don't have it written down because it's not mine.
Oh,
Spoon
right.
might
You
have
got
it.
Randall the armor. Sorry, my bad. You got Randall.
Yeah,
the armor.
because he didn't have armor, and I was like, "Yo, bro, you need some shit so you don't die, Lamau."
A brigantine is what I have written down.
Brigandine is what you got?
Yeah.
On here. Just double checking, man. Yeah, I'd say you guys have been here. So yeah, so it was a single armorer and apprentice. That would take some time to make. What I'm going to say, for the sake of simplicity,
He wasn't making the armor, he had the armor on hand.
had the armor. Oh, okay, then you're fine. Then I understand what the question is. Just equip it. Or if you want.
I think I was already wearing it.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. If you already got it, you already got it. So that's done there. Right. So you've got your armor, you've got that. Spoon, you're picking up your stuff. So the confusion here is just Debo, you wanting to know what's going on with your stuff. It seems like you've clarified most of it. You got your sword.
Yeah, I got it. I got it all.
Yeah.
Good on my
Because you already had it made.
I do not have bullet though. I assume that I get a bullet.
You have enough for one shot.
Shit.
They don't really make bullets in this area. Like, a smith could make it, but it's not a common request, because they don't really use that weapon commonly here. If you got closer to the cities that are functional, like Cronenberg and Old Lakeshore, they could make you bullets. It makes sense that they would use that more heavily there.
Yeah, I'd probably end up just asking the dwarves if we end up going there.
Yeah, like, basically, how
I
it tends
assume
to...
they have fucking. I assume the dwarves have that shit, bro.
Yeah, they do. How it tends to work is, as you get further from centralized places, so like cities and stuff, and also depending on the culture and general power of where you're at, the technology level and the level of culture tends to change a little bit the further you get from city centers. So the closer you get to the city, usually where they keep a bulk of their military might, that's where you tend to get better stuff. Generally speaking, the further you get from it, the more things become a bit more basic and easy to make.
Well, bullets themselves are easy as fuck to make. It's just gunpowder. Bullets, you just like find something metal and fucking melt it into a little ball.
Yeah, I understand that. It's just you would have to request it. It's not common here. Arrows are common here.
Yeah, fuck arrows.
I'm not saying it's impossible to make. You totally could. It's just
Arrows for little bitches.
yeah.
No, I just remember like this one fucking Mel Gibson movie where he's like in the Revolutionary War with a fucking flintlock, and he like his fucking son dies or something, and then he takes his little toy soldiers and just melts them into fucking bullets.
Patriot?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies, and that's actually accurate. You could do that.
That movie was so fucking good, and it had no right to be, dude. I just saw it one day on TV, and I was like, what the fuck?
It's super
man,
good.
Fucking
One of
Mel
my
Gibson
favorite
just wanted to
movies.
flex on Brits. That's all he wanted.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, like
Like,
actually,
it's so good.
it's really good.
The thing is that you also have to take into account the time period they're in. They are far ahead of my world in terms of like their ingenuity and their knowledge and what regular people or soldiers could do then compared to the ones now. I'm not saying that like they couldn't figure out a way to melt down steel or silver or whatever and make bullets. They could. It's just it's not something that really occurs to normal people. Usually they go to a smith. They go to people of function. But I mean, like I said, you could request it.
Yeah,
It was
I
just a
probably
far
won't,
more
yeah,
industrious time in like the Revolutionary era.
Pretty much. Yep. That's basically
especially for ways about killing people.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're basically in that late Renaissance period where industrialization and stuff like that is just starting up, but it's not as widespread outside of the Imperium and Constantia, or Acretia for that matter. But each section is starting up, and because of how dwarves tend to work, it's not like they're spreading their methods to other people. They trade, but they don't really trade their secrets or their knowledge easily, you know. So.
Yeah.
That being said, though, what was the initial confusion, Debo? What stuff do you need to know if you have?
Nothing. I'm all good. It's all
Okay.
figured out, dude.
All right. All right. Do you wish to do anything before the next day rolls around?
Not beyond like just walk around and fucking check shit out and get like familiar with the surroundings in case I need to hide and stuff. Look out hiding spots. Just general creep shit. You know what I mean?
Yep. Give me an investigation check. You're basically taking as much time as you have to find the best spots to either retreat into or hide in post-shot. I also want you to be aware of the fact that it'll likely be during the day because he's not here now. So you'll be fairly exposed in a couple places.
Yep. I got an 18.
Yep. It's that's my way of basically saying stealth is not optimal where you're at during the day.
Yeah, like initially I'm gonna fucking book shit, but like ideally I'd want to know, like, hey, there's a fucking little shadowy corner here that maybe, you know, like shit gets spicy.
If it got really spicy, a shadowy corner wouldn't save you if they had the resources to basically just send people looking for whoever. But, I mean, that's only effective if they see you. Otherwise, they're looking for someone with a gunpowder weapon of a random description, and then they would need to find out who you are, because otherwise, outside of the gun, there'd be no way to tell it's you.
Yep, okay, so Yeah, like I guess that's all you do is just the 18 investigate to just look around and look for optimal spots.
Yep. So to give you a clear picture, the roof you're on is fairly standard. You couldn't really hide effectively on the side you're shooting from. So you'd essentially be taking your shot and very quickly sliding down the roof onto your horse using your agility and your acrobatics. You would untie your horse and then basically immediately make it to the gate, because you have to remember this is a hit. This is in and out.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Yeah. That's what
So
I'm going for.
You're utilizing the confusion to basically make your way out of the settlement as fast as possible. And like I said, there are very few white robes around here. Like, not enough to cover the area. However, that being said, and it's like De La Ponte said the other night, he doesn't know if the man is bringing any additional guard or not. He's assuming that he'll come with a contingent, but he's not sure if he's bringing anything larger than that. The only time this plan becomes incredibly risky is if he basically moves in with a giant horde or armed force, which would be very uncommon but not impossible. Because nobody knows what this guy's plan is, and nobody knows if he's like mobilizing or moving out. And if De La Ponce does know that, he didn't say anything.
Well,
so you have to consider that.
Oh, I considered it, and I think he's gonna fucking bring a bunch of fucking guards, and that's why I'm like trying to come up with spots to hide just in case.
Okay.
Is there a cellar in the fucking inn? No.
Give me a recall. Actually, give me a tactics check. A 10.
I think I auto that, but
I'm just going to assume Brian's going to say, penning yourself into a place one entry and exit is probably a bad idea.
I just mean like if there's an entrance inside that goes down there, and then you can leave from like a little door or something. But like, I don't think that's the case here.
Okay, to give you an idea, this is an inn. I know what you're trying to say, but literally 99% of places that have cellars don't have cellars that act as escape routes in times of war like the keep did.
Fucking wish, bro. I fucking wish.
That's not the case. And it is very, very unlikely that even the labyrinthine like sewer systems of Lakeshore extends out here. It is incredibly unlikely.
Understandable.
So, with a tactics of 10, which is basic, you would know it's not a good idea to pen yourself in like that, because assuming there's a sufficient enough force to actually search these areas, the odds that they don't check a cellar and literally every corner and everything in it is pretty low.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to take the horse. It's all good.
Yeah, like, I mean, your options are basically using the shock that you create, assuming everything goes according to plan, to make your escape toward an exit and, well, pretty much fight your way out. Assuming they've left guards there. But it's safe to assume that with the roll that you made, and I'll give this to you, that a majority of them will be there guarding the man in white. Which means, assuming none of them are mounted or using ranged weapons of any kind, that you should be able to essentially get to the gate and open it yourself to leave. Because these aren't super sophisticated gates. These are basically...
I do have the long sword. Yeah, I have a long sword.
Okay. What you... There's a way around this, but I'm gonna let you figure it out. It's pretty simple, but I won't give it to you for free. It's not a recall check. It's not something you need to remember.
Sorry, what? I was just reading over my sheet again.
It's... Hold on here. Am I fucking stoned? Or... Oh, no, it's there.
It's this one called Atticus Caecilius, not the one I sent you before. That's the old one.
I have your up-to-date sheet. Pretty
yeah,
sure.
that's what I'm clicking on. Yeah.
I'm gonna just go over recall one more time. This is not really something that falls into you having to remember it. I don't think. Yeah, this just requires you to make a plan. Oh, okay. You know what? No, I'll give this to you under recall. Give me a recall check. Give me a 10. Actually, you might pass that automatically. Let's see.
I do have battlefield tactics.
That would not help you in this situation. Okay. Give me just roll a die. I think you pass it automatically. I think your base is 10.
Yeah, my base is 10.
Okay. So just roll to see if you critically succeed.
Whoop.
Okay, so into the void. Rip.
Nah.
You don't pass?
No, I didn't critically succeed. I passed baseline.
Okay. Yeah. You could ask LaPonce if he could have somebody open the gate for you to exit.
Yeah.
Like
Let's
straight
do
up,
that.
just have somebody at the western gate to let you out. That's it.
I thought it was the eastern gate.
No, east is this way direction.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay.
South is this way. Yep. So we'll say that you asked him to do that, and he would have agreed. He said he could station one person there to open it for you, but he wouldn't leave them there for long, so you'd have to hurry there.
Yep, that's the plan.
Cool. We all ready?
Already.
Okay. So I'm gonna go take a shit and leave you in suspense, but I'll be right back.
Fucking take shit in your mouth, little kid, bitch.
Alright. We all ready?
Guess not.
Yes.
Alright. You wanna do anything else? Say your piece. Okay.
And yeah, that's all my characters got, dude.
Alright.
The fuck? I swear I had theology. What happened?
That would be... Well, you're not a priestly character, so you're just praying. Tossing a prayer into the wind.
No, I mean, like, I thought I took points in it. Oh, yeah, I have the fucking talent, theology.
Okay.
Receive extra information if specialty checks involving theology are called for.
Yeah, but I think if you're like praying towards a god, asking to like receive a boon, that would be more like
Yeah, that's like
non-empowered.
straight up priest shit. This is just normal, like, sad boy praying, man.
I mean,
Normal-
it's technically
normal-
possible. You just need like non-priest devotion.
It's not a guarantee for normal people, basically.
Oh, yeah, I know.
But I mean, people have been assisted before. Okay. As the morning rolls in, you are awakened by the sound of the local crier. He ushers people into the gallows. The crowd, seemingly confused but compliant, rushes to hear what news he brings from Cronenberg, Lakeshore, or any other city, typically brought by scouts. However, dispersed amongst the crowd are what few white robes that are assigned to the location. They have their heads bowed and their hands secured in their sleeves. They bear no weapons. However, numbering about 10 strong, wielding long pole arms and ornate robes, flanking a shorter, hunched figure concealed by white with a small, kind of intricately designed staff or walking stick of sorts is the very recognizable man in white. His posture, his limp, although something seems off. Of course, he always looked the same as he did, but the way he moves seems unusually hindered compared to before. He was capable of maintaining his posture and generally seemed to have a more commanding presence. However, something here is definitely strange and different. However, the white robes that accompany him are very distinctly the same white robes that Franco met his end at.
Same as the two dead ones.
They walk with the same discipline and subtle air of menace that they had in the keep. They keep a fairly close formation, and it would be very difficult to assail the man in white with them in his presence. As he passes through the streets, many of the people are kept at polearm's length, non-threateningly, casually, but they know not to approach people of higher status without their beckon. The man in white makes his way through the gravel streets up until he reaches the gallows. You witness all of this and can begin to make your way up to your position whenever you see fit.
Yeah, he's probably have already, like, he'd optimally try to have been up there and ready his shot.
Okay. I will let you know when you get up there.
All right.
From the angle you're at, and given that most people are filtering in to the gallows, it would be too risky to leave immediately because there are still people passing from the inn, around the inn. Basically, everybody's being called for this meeting, except those that are essential to either remain in the fields or at their forges or whatever they do throughout the day.
All right.
So, right now you're waiting for a good opportunity. Unless you don't give a shit and you just want to get on the roof and you don't care who sees you. That's up to you.
No, I'm waiting.
Okay, wait. The man in white, he stops at the foot of the wooden steps that lead up to the gallows, where much blood and hopefully justice have been served. He tilts his head up and he looks at the platform while his personal guard fan out around the structure itself. He pauses for a second before beginning his first steps. None of his guards assist him. Though it is clear that he struggles to get up the first few steps, he continues in spite of it, eventually finding his way to the center platform. You begin to notice that the majority of the crowd that have been called filling. Oh, so I'll give you an idea here using color. So, the crowd is generally gathered and dispersed in this area here. So where the purple is, you've got people. All right?
Yep.
And there are stragglers around here. This is not everybody, but there are stragglers in the back, but they're not paying attention to your area. Your character, with as much stealth and as carefully as he can, using your rather impressive agility and climbing skill, essentially managed to make your way up a path that utilizes the roof of the horse pens. You begin to load your weapon and position yourself to take the best possible shot. The man in white ascends the wooden stairs up to the platform as you do so, and occasionally you peek up and over the triangular-shaped roof to get a good look at him. His movements are unusually slow and ponderous, And as he reaches the center of the platform, you can see that he straightens his posture, rolls his shoulders, and then gives a bit of way to his stick as he uses it to maintain himself. The crowd watches in awe, ready to receive his divine will. Your shot is ready.
Is that all the actions?
You can take your shot whenever you want.
Because I'm trying to use pick them off or whatever, right?
Yep. You can take your shot whenever. I know what that does. You can take your shot whenever you want. What you do know is the second he opens his mouth, you could very well find that taking that shot becomes more difficult. And your character would know that without a roll.
Yeah. Once my shot's ready, I want to use final shot in that. I guess just do it.
Okay.
We going for the headshot, boys.
The man in white positions himself in the center of the platform. His hands shake, and the sweat drips from his brow. You can't see this. I'm just describing it for cinematic purposes. You line up your shot to the best of your ability. And like so many shots before it, it's familiar. The wind is at your back, and it favors you. You steady your grip, you hold your breath, and you steady the barrel as much as possible. Your finger trembles somewhat over the trigger, as you know that missing this shot has consequences far more dire than simple arrest. Your finger pulls back on the trigger, and before the bang can echo out across the small village of Drime, the man in white holds up his arms, dropping his staff off of the platform. He tilts his head back and stands still in his place. How? The bullet, which normally no human eye could see, blazes throughout the sky. Like a small fiery meteor, it ignites out of thin air. Accompanying this miraculous image is the visage of the man in white, as the left side of his skull explodes, blowing a hole not only through his head itself, but through the robe. He falls to his knees, his arms frozen, each extended at full length to either side of his body. His body convulses and shakes. His remaining eye blinks multiple times, and a tiny smile curves itself at the corner of his mouth before his body falls to the side, limp. In the confusion, people scream and begin to panic. The nearby guards, almost as if confused themselves, look around. Some of them seem gripped by inaction. Those that were in the crowd begin to look around in a confused fashion, dazed as well. And in this moment, you can hear something with surprising clarity and detail that you know you should not be able to hear. You hear the sound of a dripping liquid and what sounds like some sort of thick, fleshy viscera as it falls to the ground in measured paces. Drip, plop, drip. As the ring in your ears subsides, you immediately remember that the plan, the exit, needs to happen now, fast. You can see a few figures, roughly 4, jump out from the crowd and begin assailing the personal guard of the man in white. However, your time to escape is becoming more limited as the warning of DuPont's echoes in your ears. Make it fast.
Yep. Spoon cue the fuck this shit I'm out, and I'm gonna fuck this shit I'm out. I'm gonna try to jump down and get on my horse and fuck off.
Yeah. Taking a moment to compose yourself, you bring up your rifle and slide down and use the angle of the roof to slide down, up, off, over, and onto the back of your horse that buckles slightly but accepts your weight. You untie the creature, somewhat startled by the shot, but already eager to begin riding forth. You spur the horse forward and begin to make your escape at full gallop, while the crowd scatters and the sounds of combat very distinctly echo out through the air.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't
I'll be right back.
mind me.
Yep.
I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
We'll just wait till Debo gets back.
For what?
Well, he's doing the escape, so I'm just like waiting.
Hmm.
No, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Spoon just went BRB, get fucked. Okay.
I mean, I'm recording this. I can listen to all this later.
Yep. Okay. You make your way toward an already pre-opened gate. LaPonce was true to his word, and the second the shot had rung out, it was safe to say that he had his agent open the gate. You drive the heels of your feet into the sides of your horse, and it reaches top speed as fast as reasonably possible. You rush through the gate and begin to make your way south to Covenall down the path with no resistance.
All right.
And it dawns on you. Is that it? Is that it? Is it over? Was it that easy?
It's probably fucking decoy, dude. But it ain't my problem.
The last thing you recall were the actions the man in white had taken before stepping up on the platform in front of the crowd. They were strange. But
I mean, yeah, it was a decoy, dude. I know that. My character doesn't.
regardless, your part of the bargain has been fulfilled. And LaPonce, should you return after some time, has said that he owes you a favor.
Sick.
I'd write that down. When you decide to cash in on it, hopefully he is and continues to be true to his word.
Yep, LaPonce is on the list.
The goal now is to reach Covenal and rendezvous with Gerald and Randall. But so far as you're aware, the man in white has been slain, Franco has been avenged, and at the very least you have some peace of mind. Hopefully things will get back to normal. Now we wait for Spoon,
I'm back.
and Spoon returns. During your journey, as you ride alongside Gerald, you hear kind of a loud echo from the north, like a crack in the distance. Gerald kind of looks up and over his shoulder, and he asks you, "Huh, never heard that before."
Can't say I've heard it often either.
Gives you a bit of a look, and then he continues riding along at a casual pace. "Oh, Mr. Randall,
Gerald?
He thinks about it a couple times. "I need your help."
How can I help you?
He wipes a bit of drool from the left side of his mouth. "My father sent me here to bring back a gift that was worthy of our name, so that when he finds me a wife, I can marry her and continue our family's legacy. But he never," he wipes a bit of drool, "he never told me what to look for. He said I would know it when I found it. I don't know what that means, Mr. Randall. You seem smarter than me. Maybe you can help me find it."
Perhaps. Have you ever heard of this happening before?
"Only in stories."
Something of great value. Perhaps something enchanted by a magician.
He thinks for a couple seconds, and he tilts his head. That doesn't seem right." He's really stressing to piece together something that could be of great value, such that his father would put the reputation of his house and his family on the line to usher Gerard officially into it without shame. As somebody who's generally familiar with nobles and how they function, in spite of his capabilities, people that are like Gerard aren't really held in high esteem. They typically end up being village fools or drunkards or simpletons, were it not for their family's connections. And you know that. You've seen that multiple times before.
I recall. We also had this fairly extended discussion with Gerald of basically trying to delay his attempted slaying of a very disgusting creature from the dark. But
One more time?
I remember us basically having a fucking discussion with Gerald of trying to prevent, if not delay, him from trying to kill Malleus Bale.
That was between you and Debo.
I'm fairly certain he was there.
No,
Yeah,
he
no,
was,
I had this conversation with Gerald, dude.
yeah, he was there.
So I convinced him to come with us.
Gerald continues. My father said that only when I find this thing will my crimes be forgiven and I can return to my family in peace.
Sounds like you have quite the ordeal ahead of you, my friend.
Well, he kind of gives a bit of a sigh and he looks at you. He smiles and then he continues kind of ushering the horse forward. This was never easy, Mr. Randall. Everybody seems lost. Even here, it's the same back home. We're always trying to help ourselves, but we don't see that those around us are our strengths, not our enemies.
It seems so often that you get so used to helping oneself that helping another just seems a detriment. A lot of people have forgotten that.
Kind of looks at you for a second. I always thought I was on the right path, but I've been here for so long. It's been almost 2 years, and I haven't found what I'm looking for. He wipes a bit more drool.
It seems the biggest problem is that you don't know what to look for.
In the stories, the hero always found what he was looking for without looking for it. It was on the path, and he knew when he found it. Did it always take this long?
I'm not much tuned to the stories of Falkrath or really much of Imperi history, but I assume most of these tales are embellished, taken
What do
a
you
tad
mean?
out of. Oftentimes, at least in Imperi society, you have people going around telling tales of this or that with an exaggeration, a beast felled with a single blow, likely having taken more than a dozen. A man doing it by himself, likely more than a platoon of men at his side. Embellishments to make acts of heroism ever the more heroic, as it were.
Do you think that maybe my father sent me here to find that journey and to be that hero before I returned? I don't feel any different, Mr. Randall.
Different in what way?
I don't know. What does a hero feel like? Do
I
they know?
imagine he feels like someone who has accomplished a great deed and is likely eking out his existence happy for having done it. But so few rarely get the privilege, and I have no experience of my own to draw upon.
Gives you a bit of a nod. Do you think Mr. Atticus is a hero?
Perhaps in his own story. Maybe he's a villain in mine. Who knows?
What
It's
about
all
those
about perspective.
what about those people in white that help all the people in the village? Are they heroes?
What do you think a hero is, Gerald?
Um, he thinks on it for several long moments. Someone that helps people because they want to and expect nothing in return. To do the right thing. At least that's what I was taught.
Well, I'd say I like that definition. But I've rarely known Atticus to do something without, well, any recompense or payment, or at the very least, any guarantee of his life.
Well, not everyone can be a knight, Mr. Randall. Some people need to make money to live.
This is true.
Farmer can't farm for free. That's why knights are always heroes. They have the means. That's what my father said. That's why not everyone can be heroes and soldiers. Because they can't do it for free. The world doesn't work that way.
No, it does not.
Well, if you see what I'm looking for, Mr. Randall, can you let me know?
I can certainly point you in the direction of any odd end person, or, heaven forbid, mythical beast that still exists within the realm. I'm quite good at finding things, but if I don't know what to look for, well, that makes things a tad trickier. But I will be on the lookout for you, Gerald.
Okay. Well, my father said that whatever I find has to be of great value, but he never said to who, and I'm confused.
Such vagaries are often meant to be a mystery intentionally.
Okay. He gently spurs the horse into a light jaunt, and it continues along the path much quicker. It's very obvious that, based on what you've heard, that Gerald is here, far from home, looking for something that has no definition. And in all honesty, it kind of sounds like if he wasn't sent on some sort of fairy tale quest. Give me a political savvy check.
There is no
If you-
political savvy check.
Or do you have any? Hold on. What
That's
skill?
a fucking perk now, dude.
Do you have the political savvy talent?
No.
Understandable. Never mind. Okay. Okay. You continuing down the path, you can see the wealthy coastal village of Kovanal in the distance on the hills. Past the small, sparse forests, the hustle, bustle, and smoke of the active village is now within your sight, and you're almost at the point at which you meet up with Atticus, but it is likely he is still far behind. Gerald seems troubled on the task, and the sort of near endless spirit that he had, at least up until recently, is significantly lessened. He seems obviously bothered by something, and it's almost as though his simplistic speech hindered him in properly conveying that to you, but it's clear that he's asking for help. He doesn't say much more for the remainder of the journey, and he keeps to himself. As you can tell, he's puzzling through some fairly personal thoughts. Thibaut, the evening begins to dawn upon you, and you're about an hour away, or an hour out from Drime, south of Kovanal.
All right. Yep. He's just gonna keep going and try and pick up the trail of the boys.
This is a fairly well-traveled route, so picking out a specific trail would actually be quite difficult. There are people, traders, farmers, all sorts of folks that use this. You can only assume that they're following the path south unless you can give me a fairly difficult tracking check to distinguish their tracks specifically.
I'll try it.
Okay. It's going to be very hard based on how traveled the path is. I would say give me a 20. What do you get?
Oh, it's only 16.
Yeah, I mean, as expected. It's a fairly difficult check to make. There's lots of fairly recent tracks going through here of all sorts. And they're all muddled together and fairly fresh, so you can't really distinguish too much on the path. You can only hope that they're still heading south, as was the original plan.
And when I get there, I'll just probably look for. I'll ask Rand for an inn because I assume that's what they did. And, you know, just go look for 'em.
There is no inn on the path. It's a straight shot, so you'd be looking
No,
for...
that's what I mean. Like when I get to the town.
When you get to Covenal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, assuming you continue at the pace that you're going at, if you continue riding out and don't stop, you might be able to basically arrive at their heels as they enter Covenal, since they had a fairly significant head start.
Oh yeah, he's fucking straight up gunning it because he wants to get away from the fucking crime scene.
Yep, you're a good distance away. Okay.
Yeah.
You, as you continue galloping down the path, something about that final moment keeps nagging at you. However, none of it seems to make sense. Debo, your character is intelligent enough to go through any number of possible scenarios in his mind as to why he's so uneasy. I'll let you guess, and whatever you can guess out of character within reason, I'll give to your character as to why he's like uncertain, like you're a bit anxious, even though logically you have no reason to be.
I mean, I figure it's just an imposter, dude. It's pretty obvious.
Okay.
And I'm not that smart, and I'm fucking baked, so.
Okay. Do you think that's a conclusion your character would draw?
I mean, he's probably smarter than I am.
Sure, but you're also a modern person, so you are much smarter than he is. By comparison.
Shit, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Do you think that that would be a reasonable conclusion for him to draw? And if so, would you like him to draw that conclusion?
I mean, he did his up end of it. He doesn't really care.
Okay. So now that you've completed your end of the bargain, is your character basically gonna let it rest?
I mean, yeah. What else he's gonna do? Ride back and be like, yeah, no, I gotta fucking what?
Okay. You give it some time. You puzzle through any number of scenarios that could lead you to feel this way, and inevitably, you eventually decide that it's not worth your consideration. The job is done. What's done is done. And all you have to look forward to is meeting up with Randall and Gerald and hoping that De La Pons fulfills his end of the bargain. That's what's most important. Debo, I want you to write something down on your character sheet. Your character now has a title.
All right.
Okay. All right. You are the Slayer of the White Messiah.
That's what he gets for fucking taking my land.
You are the Slayer of the White Messiah. This is not something that most people will call you, but there are people out there that will call you this, and there will be a reason and a connection. That is your title.
All right.
Within the village of Drime, and within Lakeshore proper, you have a minor level of notoriety. Minor because you planned your situation out so as to minimize witnesses. However, being that it was during the day, and that it's virtually impossible to cover all eyes, there may have been people that saw the act. That being said, it's minor because it's going to take quite a while for any sort of detail to spread. So, that is your situation. You have a minor level of notoriety with a very specific faction that I will not name. Got it?
All right.
Cool. All right. I'm going to call that there. And we'll have wrapped up that arc for now, and you guys can spend your XP, of which I will give you guys an additional 15 to spend.
All right.
Sorry, Spoon. I will do my best to give you a bit more time next session, so I realize a lot of
Fine.
that focused on Debo.
It's fine.
That will be the conclusion of that arc. The next time we play, we're starting up an entirely new arc. And that will decide where the rest of the story is going as the pursuit of Gerard continues.
Fucking Gerard, that.
What do you think is going on, Spoon?
In regards to what?
How do you feel about everything that's kind of happened?
It's interesting. I think that Debo, in particular, likely has
You think Debo which?
I think Debo, in particular...
Oh,
Mic check?
Discord shitting itself.
Mic check?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's probably just like tabletop sim closing out, fucking with my microphone. Anyway,
Got it.
I'm thinking that Debo is currently in a fairly precarious situation. The imagery of like the priest smiling as he died indicated one of two things based on my like limited occultish LOL RPG tropes bullshit fucking knowledge.
Gotcha.
He could have been contented with the knowledge that him dying does nothing. He could have been effectively masking Malleus Bale's presence just because if he was currently possessed at the time, well, Malleus Bale is probably free to fuck with whoever and whatever he wants now, which, if the scene played out as I suspect it may have, he may have gone for Debo. But Debo never got a will check or anything, so maybe he's just sticking around to fuck with us.
Okay.
Somewhere in the Immaterium. I believe that the faction, or the group, that is going to be pissed off at Debo is some element of either the Lakeshore Guard, and more than likely any and true faithful of the now dead White Savior.
What do you think, Debo?
I don't know, man. I just know that motherfucker's head exploded.
You had this idea that you thought it was a decoy.
Yeah, because he was like all hobbly and, he's paranoid as fuck after I shot him.
Yeah, maybe he didn't get any good sleep ever since you shot him, so Hell, maybe he just didn't heal any of his fucking HP back because he's been so fucking scared.
The only way there was to like determine if it was a decoy or not is to let him fucking talk and like test if he's a wizard, but like fuck that.
But on the other hand, I can't think of many decoys who'd be happy that they just gotten their brains thrown out.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing where you guys are like what you guys are kind of predicting along the line.
How much is a talent point again?
Depends on the talent.
It has its cost.
It just says talent points.
That's like 3 XP per.
Yeah, 3.
Okay.
Do you guys think that everything that's happened up to now and including now has been a net positive or a net negative in terms of just potential impact?
Lateral move.
Okay.
What could effectively be considered like the death of Lakeshore is going to create a power vacuum.
All right.
Which always goes over so well.
Well, the thing is, like, what do you think the greater consequence would have been? The potential moves and leadership of the man in white, or the potential leadership and moves of many different people?
I mean, the man in white is fucked, dude. He took over a whole town like nothing. So...
The man in white is not very physically imposing. And I'm not quite sure how, like, religiously zealous most of, like, the armed forces in this, like, universe of yours are. So maybe just, like, walking up to a church and burning it the fuck down isn't that big of a deal. And if that was the case, a small armed force could probably just go there and just beat him up. Or if they didn't manage to beat him up, they could just go like, yo, this guy's a fucking wizard. Oh, send more men.
All right.
That said, we probably weren't the only people in the universe trying to kill this guy. It's just that everyone hadn't acknowledged that he's a big deal yet.
Okay. Based on what you know, Devo, which I mean is limited, but based on everything you know since the beginning of the story, even precluding the man in white, would you do it any different if you had different options? If you had a bit more time to plan?
No, probably not.
Okay.
That was the best plan that place had to offer. Like, there wasn't really much else.
Well, the thing is that it was a pretty simple plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't super complicated, didn't require, 46 contingencies.
The only other plan I could have thought of, which I didn't do or say or speak up about because it put my character at risk, and he's like, fuck that, was that I could have potentially incited a revolt. That was something I was thinking about doing.
Yep. Oh, it's a real option.
My character has a fairly high, persuade stat. He's fairly famous, and he's just if he started shit at, this fucking execution site, and just started saying, a lot of off shit, fucking accusing him of, absolute heretical witchcraft, and, he's like, look how you are taking leave of your senses. He's trying to manipulate you. He's not a savior. He's a bloody wizard. Hang him. Just, incitement shit.
Inciting revolt, yeah. Okay.
Hell, my character even has, real-world examples to pull from. It's like, he's taking your gods. He's likely taking your sovereign. Don't let him take you. Kill him.
I'm actually kind of wondering, if you and Debo thought it was going to go as smoothly as it seems to have gone.
It's about on par.
What did you think was going to happen? The second the plan got suggested, what were the first thoughts that came into your head?
I
Like,
thought he'd bring maybe 10, 20 guys with him because he was paranoid, but he doesn't have, oh, excuse me. He doesn't have infinite resources. He only had 6 guys when we tried to kill him.
Yep. True.
Yeah, like that's pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting wall-to-wall white robes, but then again, he doesn't really seem all that interested in fucking with the complete mercantilistic shit that the accretion's got going on, but I don't know, he just seems like a really very religiously centered person who just lets people do whatever the fuck as long as they're worshiping the right god. LOL.
Yep. All right.
Yeah,
There's always
when
ways.
they're worshiping the right god.
Yeah, there's always ways to extend or otherwise set up your characters or your protagonists for a more long-term campaign, but depending on the situation, most of the time they don't always last until the end of the game. Shit happens. And usually people tend to have patterns. You know what I mean? They tend to have very specific ways they go about things.
Typically only diverting when it suits their needs or their plans.
Usually, yeah. Usually that's the case.